Everybody, Jim Perry here. Welcome to Backroads Metal Detecting. So you might be able to see, compared to my video from last week, the weather has drastically changed here in southeast Minnesota. For those of you who are not here, we get weeks on end where we are just barely above zero, maybe into the teens. Last weekend we had some unusually mild weather, so I was able to get out and do a bit of metal detecting out in a favorite field. The weather it was about mid 40s part of last weekend, and then it got down into below zero and into the single digits. So really not a possibility to get out and detect now. The ground is again far too frozen. But I have driven down into this valley. I am on some state property with some hiking trails on them. For those of you that are not, again, familiar with southeast Minnesota, many of the communities here were established in the early to mid 1850s. The road that I drove in on from just over in this direction all along this ridge line down to where I parked is the old Stagecoach road that ran through here easily in the early to mid 1850s. The reason I'm out here today, number one, it's a beautiful day, mid 20s today, and I wanted to get in a hike. Plus, there were some geocaches out here. So one of the things that I do aside from metal detecting when it is far too cold to dig is go out to area parks and do some geocaching. I am at the first location here. Let me show you exactly what is hidden inside this tree. So this geocache was probably part of a quarter mile away from the parking lot. It is called Home in the Valley. I'm hidden just inside this tree that obviously fell long ago. Let's take a look and see what might be inside it together. So, for those of you who have never geocached before, always going to be a logbook inside there. There might be another goodie or two. Logbook you go ahead and sign, and then go online to let the cache owner know online that you've been here and what your experience was like. A lot of them, this is a traditional size, wrapped in camo duct tape in order to camouflage it a bit better, although it would have been difficult to see from the trail here either way. So we'll get my log written here quick and move on to the next one. There are probably a half a dozen or so that I might be able to get to this afternoon, depending on the terrain and how difficult it is to get back to them. This one is called Phone Home. We'll take a look to see if we can find this one together. I'm going to assume it's back in behind these logs. I see there's been obviously some human activity here recently, which makes me think that it's just back in here. Well, I looked for just a few minutes and I'm not seeing it. Sometimes geocaches are placed right along logs just on the ground. And with the snow that's fallen here, it easily could be just underneath the snow. I really don't want to take too much time. Again, I'm really out here to do more exploring than anything else. Being that this is state land, there is no digging. So I will not ever be able to come out here to metal detect, but looking at old plat maps and aerial images, I do know that there was at least 2 homes that were out here, but walking through I can see where easily there could have been more. Not sure if I'll be able to find any remnants of those on my way back out, but it always is fun to look as well. Moving on to the next cache. So I'm a bit out of breath. Just hiked probably another 20 or 25 minutes back into the far end of this valley. Just absolutely not prepared with just boots and nothing else for the really deep snow that is back here that I did not expect. The next cache that I was going to hit is way up this very, very, very large hill behind me. I'm going to have to save that for another day where I can see better where I'm going, and maybe there is a trail that's just covered by the snow here, but it's just far too deep to get up there today. So I'm going to head back behind the camera here. It's at least another quarter of a mile, close to a half a mile to the next cache, and hopefully be able to find that. So just by dumb luck, I ran into one of the property owners here and his son. The property owner is quite elderly and lives up on top of the hill, just on the other side of Stagecoach Road. And they were telling me about structures that were down here. This was a working farm through here. It's far too thick now to even be able to almost imagine that. There was a home, he said, over in this direction, exactly where I suspected there was one. And then he said just on the other side of where this field was, near the creek, there was an Indian camp. Property owner also said there was a cabin from in the mid-1800s at the far end of the valley where I just walked through. I was certain I could see an area that was leveled off kind of on the side of a small hill that probably held a structure. He actually brought that up before I even mentioned it, and he said that there had been a cabin there as well. Both of them also said that they live on properties up top on the hill that either have or had very old structures, possibly including where a cabin sat up there. So I gave him one of my cards and told them that if they were interested, I could bring a couple of extra metal detectors someday and see what we might be able to find on the property. The son was extremely interested in that, so we'll have to see. Just kind of by dumb luck again, maybe I'll get a chance to have a permission and see what old items may have been dropped near Stagecoach Road here. Well, I guess I should have come in this direction first. This is absolutely gorgeous on this end of the property. I am on to the next cache. Unfortunately, it is completely frozen into the ground. It's called Stealing Home. I'm not going to show too much of it in case there are any geocachers watching. I will come back again when the weather is warmer. My brother-in-law and his family do some geocaching, so we'll be coming back to hit the property here with them and see if we can find even more of these. So I'm going to call it a day. I've been out here several hours. Again, I wish I had started down this kind of this main drive that comes through the property instead of heading to the west first. Don't know if you could see it in the video, but there is a drive that goes all the way up that bluff to more of the property up there. I walked part way up, but realized quickly that I really wasn't going to have enough time to explore that area today. I've been out here about 3 hours, found a couple of geocaches, had a couple of DNFs. I know I was on the location of several, but assuming that they were underneath the snow, frozen in place, which means I'll need to come back when the weather is much warmer. One of the warnings for these geocaches is that this area has rattlesnakes. So if I come out with my brother-in-law and nephew, we'll have to make sure it's before it's too warm. Otherwise leave him behind and be careful with just the two of us. So great day to explore, beautiful area out here. Looking forward to coming back to see when the snow is gone if I can locate where possibly that cabin was on the west end, where the home was here on the east end, and the possibility of metal detecting with the property owners on the north end just outside of this wildlife protected area. As always, thanks for joining me again today. Hope to see you again soon.